Previously, on Engineering the Jigsaw, we've talked about how modern vehicles rely on software. And in our previous episode, we talked about how embedded software is often created from source code by a sequence of compilation, assembly, and linking steps. We also talked about how automating the software lifecycle may allow continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and even continuous deployment processes, or CI/CD for short. Once we have CI/CD in place though, where can we go next? And this is the cliffhanger we left you with previously. Let's go find out. Hi everybody, I'm Ian Cunningham from Vector-GB. Welcome to this foundation level episode of Engineering the Jigsaw, foundation episode number 25, What is a Software Factory? Previously, we talked about continuous integration and continuous development and how by automating the software lifecycle, we may be able to achieve this CI/CD process. Next though, how do we close this loop? How can we get feedback to inform what we want to do? This is the obvious next step, isn't it? We have almost the whole loop here. So how do we close the loop? We make use of something called observability. Observability is a way of determining the state of our system from outputs from the system. It's really a control engineering terminology where you're able to estimate internal state of a system based on the performance of the system and the inputs, but we make use of it in software engineering too. So observability allows us to do three main things. So firstly, it allows us to identify issues. So bugs, unintended behavior that we've included that we want to get rid of. It allows us to detect security breaches, which are bad and we would want to fix very quickly. And also, observability allows us to make improvements to our system by allowing us to perform experiments with new algorithms and understand how they perform in a working system before we commit to maybe deploying a new algorithm to a whole fleet of vehicles, potentially, if we're working in the context of a vehicle. So how do we get observability? Where does it come from? Well, observability is based on data. As I've already said, maybe the inputs, maybe the outputs of a system. How can we process these though? What information do we need to obtain? Well, there's a convenient abbreviation, which is MELT, M-E-L-T. And this stands for metrics, events, logs, and traces. What are metrics? Very simple. Metrics are numerical measurements of data over time. So an example of a metric might be a voltage that you take various sample points of, and then you have a metric, you have a set of data over time. Events are discrete, significant activities or changes in the system. So an error occurring would be an event. Something becoming disconnected would be an event. And so on. Logs are records that the system creates of its outputs and other runtime information. So maybe we have the ability as a system's running to create logs. And then traces. Traces are the path of a series of causally related events. So we have this idea of an event that occurs and that causes another one, causes another one, causes another one. Potentially a ripple effect. This is a trace if we can capture that path of events. So if we bring observability to our software lifecycle, observability allows us to close the loop. It allows us to monitor our system in use, and it allows us to make or to perform some planning about things we want to do next in our next CI cycle. So we should mention at this point, SOVD is one way that we can achieve a level of observability through retrieving logs and traces, through subscribing to cyclic data or retrieving fault data and other data on demand. So observability is something we covered in episodes F22 and F23 very recently. And it's the observability that allows us to monitor and plan what we're going to do next, to be organized, to as part of our culture of improvement, we want to do this. And we'll come back to culture, really important. Because from CI/CD to DevOps seems like a relatively simple step. We have kind of the CI/CD part and we bolt operating, monitoring and planning into it and we achieve DevOps or development and operations. But no, because DevOps is also based on a mutual desire for collaboration between and within organizations, a desire for continuous improvement, as I've just talked about, and shared responsibility. So quality is everybody's job if you are implementing a DevOps process and way of working. So we need that collaboration, we need that continuous improvement, we need that shared responsibility. DevOps is not just technology. DevOps is technology and culture. Without the culture, we don't have DevOps. To go beyond DevOps though, if we think about AI for just a brief second as an aside, we may be making use of AI in a number of ways. We might be making use of AI in the system we're developing or in our development process or tooling or both. So some common kinds of AI, artificial intelligence, are fuzzy logic, neural networks, and machine learning. And these are used in different ways to build technologies that we might want to make use of. So for example, large language models or coding assist that are used to make coding assistants that we may use for tasks such as coding, obviously, or testing, helping us build tests. We may have computer vision systems for processing video from cameras or processing LiDAR to get spatial awareness around a system. Or if we're looking at observability, we're retrieving vast quantities of data and we may need to process that in an automated manner to uncover trends or patterns. This is another possible use of artificial intelligence in our process. So a very quick aside, it would be wrong to continue without mentioning it. We already kind of skipped it in our previous video, but it's really a huge topic. We won't dwell on it. So in DevOps, we are able to use artificial intelligence in a number of different ways in a modern development environment. But what we are working with often and talk about often in the context of Engine Ninja Jigsaw is not a website. It's not a mobile app where if it goes wrong, it's merely annoying. What we have are cyber-physical systems. Cyber-physical systems are the combination of embedded systems and internet connectivity. And embedded systems often have an aspect to them which is relevant for safety. So if an embedded system goes wrong in a car, a plane, a truck, a factory, even a home appliance, in a power grid, then obviously that could affect the safety of people. So cyber-physical systems often have a degree of safety relevance. And Software Factory is how we bring DevOps to cyber-physical systems, where we need to consider more than just software and deploying software quickly. We need to deploy fully tested working software, often with some certification as well. So in the Software Factory, we make use of a high degree of automation to ensure that we reliably deliver working and fully tested embedded software from information. The information might be new ideas for things that we want to put into our system. It might also be information that we've gathered via observability to make decisions or to fix issues that we've uncovered. So DevOps, in some way, is a machine that converts information to embedded software. Software Factory is a machine that converts information to fully tested embedded software. So that's everything we're going to say for now. Please remember, CI/CD is a major technical building block of DevOps. And in DevOps, we automate feedback to help us plan our next development cycle. But the technology alone is not enough if we are really intent on achieving DevOps. We have to have the technology and also that culture, that mutual desire for collaboration, the continuous improvement, and also the shared responsibility. Everybody has responsibility. We can't just say, oh, that's Bob's or Ranjit's job. We are all responsible in a DevOps environment. And the Software Factory is a way to bring DevOps to cyber physical system development. And fundamentally, it is a machine that turns information into working, fully tested software. If you want to know more about the Software Factory, please visit our website or contact us for how Vector can help you to build your software factory. Join me after the music to find out how to contact us. Goodbye. Really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Engineering the Jigsaw. Make sure if you have, you give it a thumbs up in YouTube. If you have questions or ideas, then give us a comment down below the video. If you don't want to do it in public, if you want to keep it private, then drop us an email to our special email address, engineering.jigsaw@vector.com. You can find a link to our webpage with those contact details on in the description for this video. Make sure that you subscribe to get notified as we release new episodes and as Vector publishes its excellent and informative videos on its YouTube channel. Make sure to check out our playlists. We have our foundation episodes playlist and also intermediate level playlist as well, for you to binge and catch up with. We'll catch you for another episode soon. Goodbye.